Hello everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Clearing the Backlog video. Yes, we are here with some more Stormcast. I know we've already done a part of Stormcast Eternals, but they were for my Hammers of Sigmar, and this is for the Hallowed Knights. So, we'll be saying goodbye to 3rd edition very, very soon, I am sure. And, well, I wanted to get my 1,000 points of Hallowed Knights ready for AOS 4. So in order to do that, because we already have Gardus Steel Soul, we already have the Knight Judicator that you saw a little while ago, I painted up some Vindictors, whatever they're called, Vindictors, I'm pretty certain, a little while back, and now it comes the time to actually finish off some units to round it out to 1,000 points. Now this is going to be the Questor Soulsworn that you can see here and here, the Annihilators, and some Vigilors, and this will take us to a lovely round 1,000 points for the Hallowed Knights. So we're going to be painting up these 4 today, and well, all of the techniques are exactly the same across all 4, so rather than do 3 separate videos, we're just going to do one video today, which is what a Clearing the Backlog is, and inside this video we will be painting all 3 of these units up together. So they've all been primed in grey Seer, so next up we're going to grab our paints and our brushes, and we'll be right back. So the place we're going to start for all of our Hallowed Knights is going to be across all of the armour, and the colour we're going to be using first for this is some thinned down Grey Knight Steel. Now this is actually due to change in the next edition, but for now we just want to finish off these guys in the same way as the kind of more traditional bluish steely kind of Hallowed Knights, because, well, as mentioned, the next wave of things for AOS 4 is the Ruination Chamber, and those guys are the ones that have been kind of reforged too many times at this point. So a little bit darker, a little bit grittier. And so we will be coming up with another way to do Iron Hands? No, Hallowed Knights later on. But for now, this is the kind of more traditional look you have for them. So we're going to get this Grey Knight Steel over the top of all of the armour across all 3 of our units. And then once that's done, we'll come back. So with all that Grey Knight Steel applied, we're then going to take some Space Wolves Grey, and we're going to apply this over the top of all the Grey Knight Steel. So with all that Space Wolves Grey applied, we're then going to take some Black Legion, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the leather, such as boots and gloves. We're going to apply this over the top of any belts and straps. And as well as over the top of any soft deep joints in the armour, as well as any other details we want to be black, such as the inside of the doors or the lantern. For example, over here on this lovely individual. Just like that sort of thing. So with that then done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Talassar Blue and we're going to apply this over, well, quite a few details. So we'll start here on the Questor Soulsworn. So we're going to take the Talassar Blue and we're going to apply this over the top of the outside of any perturges. Like so. We're going to apply this over the top of any heraldic details that we've not coloured over. So this is going to include the odd knee pad here or there, or indeed like the rondels and things on their armour, and on the Questor Soulsworn it does include these little shield-like devices here. Like so. We're going to apply this over top of any shoulder pads. Like that. And we're also going to apply this over the top of the outside of any cloth. And with that Talassar Blue applied, we're then going to take some Ultramarines Blue and we're going to apply this over the top. So with that Ultramarines Blue now applied, we take some Sigvald Burgundy and we're going to apply this to the inside of the cloaks and the perturges With that Sigvald Burgundy applied, we're then going to take some Blood Angels Red. We're going to apply this over the top of the helmet plume. With that all done, we're then going to take some Cygor Brown and we're going to apply this over the top of the grips on the weapons. And with that Cygor Brown applied, we're then going to take some Skeleton Horde and we're going to apply this over the top of any parchment, any bones, because the Relictor has some bones set into his armour, but all of the Questor Soulsworn have a little reliquary box which all tend to have a little hand or something in it, like that. So with that done, we're going to take the same two colours again, Skeleton Horde and Cygor Brown, and we're going to use this over the top of the furs. So we're going to start with Skeleton Horde, and we're going to apply this, like so, over the top of all the fur. Like that. Then we're going to wash the brush, touch off any water, then we're going to grab some Cygor Brown and we're just going to apply some like this over the top, wash the brush, return to the Skeleton Horde, and use that to kind of soften the edges like that. And then, because we've kind of mixed the two colours together, on the inside we're just going to apply this like that. And so with that then done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour and we're going to apply this over almost all of our remaining details. Now we're not going to be applying this over the top of any weapons or over the top of any jewellery, but when it comes to things like trim and decorative shoulder pads and cross guards and pommels and things like that, we are going to be applying this over the top of those bits. With all of that Retributor Armour applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Iron Hand Steel. I'm going to apply this over the top of all of those weapons. So with that all done, it's now time to start picking out the last remaining details. So one of these is going to be the swirliness, and the colour we're going to be using for this is Frostheart. Next up, we're going to take some Drakenhof Nightshade, and we're going to use this over the top of any white details. So this is going to be these little bits here on the kind of, it's not lantern, but it's a relictor thing. We're also going to apply this over top of any of the white on the shoulder plaids. Like this bit here. And we're also going to apply this over the top of his skull helm and these heraldic details. We have covered over a lot of these with blue, but it's good to just do this anyway if you do have any white. And finally, we're going to take some Fyreslayer Flesh, and we're going to use this over the top of the skin of our Vigilor's bare face, just here. But at this point, what we're now going to do is we're going to start shading the miniatures, and we're going to use the Fyreslayer Flesh to shade all the gold. Like that, and then at the shoulder. And so with that then done, we're going to take some Gryph-Charger Grey. We're going to use this to shade all the other silver to the weapons and things. And for our last shade, we're going to take some Carroburg Crimson, and we're going to apply this over the top of the inside of their cloaks. And so with that done, all 4, and consequently all 3 of our units, are now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready. And they're looking pretty good. However, we're of course not going to leave them there. We're going to take them to the next level. And we're going to do this by adding some layers and some highlights. So, the first of these is going to be a layer. And this is going to be some thinned down Iron Hand Steel. And we're going to be applying this over the top of all of the armour, avoiding any recesses. And we're going to thin it down just a tiny little bit more than we would normally, so it just retains a little bit of that blue sheen, but ultimately makes it super bright. For that classic Hallowed Knights look. So with all of that Iron Hand Steel applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Stormhost Silver. I'm going to use this to highlight all of the silver, including those weapons. So with all that Stormhost Silver applied, we're then going to take a roughly 2 parts Stormhost Silver to 1 part Retributor Armour mix. I'm going to use this to highlight all the gold. So with all of our metallics highlighted, what we're now going to do is move on to our next layer, which is going to be some blue. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take some Kantor Blue, but we're going to thin it down with sort of 4 or 5 parts water to make it a little bit kind of thinner than we normally would. I'm going to use this as a little bit of a glaze type situation, just to smooth out any inconsistencies in our blue. So with that then done, we're going to take some thinned down Hoeth Blue. I'm going to use this now to highlight all the blue. So with that Hoeth Blue applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Corax White. And we're going to use this to relayer any of our white details that we've covered over with blue. Basically anything that's kind of open and flat. If it's a really textured thing, like the bits on the faces on the shields, don't worry too much about that, because we can just highlight that one up. We don't have to relayer that or anything. And that's what we're going to do after this. And for now, what you want to do is you want to take that thinned down Corax White and use this now just to fix any of those details, like these bits of trim on the cloaks. That sort of thing. But similarly, we have these bits on the tilting plates and the knees. With all of that Corax White applied, we're then going to take some thinned down white scar. I'm going to use this to highlight all of the details that are going to be white, including things now like these lightning bolts and the shoulders, everywhere that we've just re-layered. But in addition, particularly on this Questor Soulsworn, we're going to use the white scar to highlight the swirly swirlies. So with all of that white scar now applied, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Dawnstone. I'm going to use this to highlight the black details. So with that Dawnstone now applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Flayed One Flesh, and we're going to use this to highlight our Vigilor's face. And so with that then done, we're going to take a tiny amount of Black Legion. We're going to apply this over the top of the eyeballs. And with that Black Legion applied, we're then going to take the tiniest little dot of Screaming Skull. I'm going to apply this in the corners of the eyes. Still sticking with Screaming Skull, what we're going to do now is we're going to use this to highlight the bones, the skull, and the pelts. And on the pelts, all we're going to do is just pick out the odd little strand here and there. So with that now done, we're going to then take some Blood Angels Red. I'm going to apply this over top of any gems. So with that all done, we've just got one last thing left to do, which is to take some Baharroth Blue that we're going to thin down with 3 or 4 parts water, make it nice and runny. And on the Annihilators, we're going to drop this into the cracks in the hammer. And so with their bases now complete, we finally have what I hope, combined with 5 Vindictors, Gardus Steel Soul, and the Knight Judicator with Gryph-Hounds, we finally have roughly about 1,000 points. And I hope it's exactly 1,000 points in 3rd edition, but I don't know what it's going to be in 4th. But finally we're here. We've got a good chunk of our 2nd Stormhost already done, so now we just have to wait for Skaventide. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.